Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the building. What baffles me is that content creators are defending Carmelo Anthony as if he is the victim, as if he was the one that didn't have a knife and thrust the object inside somebody else's chest. Now, to act like one is holier than thou, as if we didn't make mistakes in our past, we have to stop the cap, ladies and gentlemen. By the grace of the Most High, we was able to see the next day. But let's not act like we never made a mistake and got grace to see another day. Something that Austin Metcalf can no longer see because of the emotion of a student that should have never been there in the first place. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that Carmelo Anthony, this man, was suspended? Also, he was partaking in the opposing member rival school. He had no business being there, but yet you have selective outrage. You have a certain ethnic group, a certain select of people dancing up and down talking about I'm gangster, you ain't gonna do shit.
I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit.
The crazy work about it is that you can have a freedom of speech, but the ignorance is pouring out of these people. So much so that, ladies and gentlemen, take heed of what's going on. For the ones justifying the death of the next person is exposing the demonic entities that resides within them. To have so much hate for somebody that you're glorifying death is nasty work. Run away like Joseph. Run away and do not look back.
If evidence does come out that Carmelo was not in fact fighting for his life when he stabbed and killed Austin Metcalf, do you think that the black community will accept that?
If evidence shows that he did not, no, we're gonna stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs.
We're going to stand by ours regardless. They stand by theirs. Ladies and gentlemen, let it be your own child, God forbid. But if it was one of your own, you would have want justice. And then the narrative is that, oh, he wasn't getting a fair trial. So now he's going to get a new team, a new legal team. But why is Carmelo Anthony getting so much support when he is the guy that committed Red Rum? We're gonna have to keep it YouTube friendly. He is the one that deleted a entity that can no longer have a chance to live life because he was emotional. He was asked to leave. Regardless if Carmelo Anthony was there first, he was never there. He was never supposed to be there in the first place. He was at a rival school at a track meet. Who brings a knife to a track meet, first of all, ladies and gentlemen? That doesn't even make sense. That sounds like premeditation to me. Now you can go to say he has a right to defend himself, and that's another narrative that certain content creators are making, saying that he has the right to defend himself in the state of Texas. Well, let's keep it a stack, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, you have the right to defend yourself, but in the educational school system, how are you going to carry a knife? And if you do, you know you're going to get in trouble, let alone if you use it. You're in trouble for even having this on your personnel. It's a felony to even get caught with this. But what's crazy work, ladies and gentlemen, is that they're acting like Carmelo Anthony was in a back alley somewhere in New York City. Like he was stranded somewhere where no one can hear him screaming for help. Like he was in the woods somewhere as if he couldn't see the light of day again. No, he was in a open area track meet at a high school event. School property. The same rules that applies in society is not the same rules that applies in the school system. But once again, you have certain content creators defending this.
We're gonna stand by ours regardless. I'm a mother first. I'm a black mother. Let me put that on there. I'm an African American mother. So I have to put away my color first and step into the motherhood. Nobody wants to see their child slain. So I do want to send prayers to Austin Metcalf, their family. But at the end of the day, I got to think like, okay, what did you do to him or whatever to cause this to happen, the reaction? We got to start taking accountability for our kids. Because then again, if my kid, that's why it's a catch-22, if my kid was Karmelo and I feel like his back was up against the wall, well, I'm going to tell you straight up, better mine than yours. Better mine than yours. So either way it go, everybody loses. A black boy allegedly murdered, and I say allegedly, heavy on the alleged.
No, it was not allegedly. It was 100% accurate. Carmelo Anthony decided to bring a pocket knife to a track meet and is now getting the support of 700K to $1 million in GoFundMe. And the parents of Carmelo Anthony didn't even give Carmelo Anthony a proper defense attorney. He was defended by a public attorney, ladies and gentlemen. Not only that, but they was not remorseful. Thus, they did not receive a plea bargain of any type of deal. How is a first-time offender getting 35 years, but they wanted to give Carmelo Anthony life? They settled for 35 years. Now, let me know in the comment section, how does that make sense for a first-time offender to get premeditated red rum charge? Also, we have to debunk the jury not being among his peers, as if that a single member being colored. So now there's an uproar saying that he did not receive a fair trial. Well, if you do your homework, they actually interviewed black jurors and they didn't have the heart. Or the response of the black jurors was they did not have the heart to convict one of their own. So if you're in a courtroom, you want the bias and the emotion to be away as possible, far away as possible to the decision making of someone's life. That's why there was not a black jury in the courtroom. So we have to debunk the lies, the narratives that's being pushed, saying that Carmelo Anthony did not bring a weapon to school. How the man didn't bring a weapon to school? Clear as day, ladies and gentlemen. What is this on the screen? It is a pocket knife. They made it seem like the weapon was a device that has a can opener and a wine opener and bells or whistles. No, it was a straight up pocket knife. Now, in the state of Texas, ladies and gentlemen, you can carry a 3.5 pocket knife legally, but you got to add context. The man was in school grounds. Then people want to say, well, he was at a track meet. It's at school grounds. These kids are not in the public to where they're in the neighborhood and they're going to a public park and they're meeting up. No, that is property of the school. You not have the right to bring a knife. And then also what even makes matters worse is that the man doesn't live in the ghetto. He doesn't live in the trenches somewhere in Third Ward or Fifth Ward where the water comes out brown. No, he was living in a good neighborhood. Why did he have the knife in the first place? Remove the knife from the situation. Probably would have still got in trouble, but at least Austin Metcalf would still be alive. Poppy would have got expelled, suspended, got sent to a alternative school. Maybe got delayed half a semester. Maybe had to redo your senior year. Didn't have the opportunity to graduate because you're short on credits. Regardless, it wouldn't have been as bad as facing 35 years in prison.
Allegedly murdered somebody. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, this is about race. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, they wouldn't give a damn.
OSR says it's a multi-tool. That doesn't mean it can be used as a weapon, but let's call it for what it is. That is not a multi-tool. See, OSR. See, that's why I'm making these live stream, lady. I think every single one of you are in the building. They're making it seem like the weapon that was used was a multi-tool. I mean, they even call it at one point a cleat sharpener. A cleat sharpener. This does not look like a cleat sharpener to me. This looks like a pocket knife. And what makes matters worse, once again, Carmelo Anthony disposed of the evidence. Now, if something was used to help you on your behalf, why would you dispose of something if you did nothing wrong? Does that make sense? Obviously, you feel some type of way to dispose of it. You were scared and you are guilty. And that's why Carmelo Anthony is facing 35 years in the big boy pen. And TDC, Texas Directional Center, tried as an adult at the age of 17. Now he is 19. And now they're trying to face a appeal with new lawyers. But I have a question for the new lawyers. How are you going to get Carmelo Anthony out of jail when the man initially brought a knife in the first place? You could have had a case and got a way lesser sentence if the knife never was involved. Of course, it won't be premeditation. Premeditation means, ladies and gentlemen, is that you knew what you was going to do prior to the event occurring. Carmelo Anthony's switchblade was already open. Premeditation, that is first degree. You had the intent to do harm. You had no business underneath that person's tent, even though you was invited to the tent. The excuses for Carmelo Anthony is crazy work. Why would you go to the opposing member team school that's a rival? And but when he was asked to leave by Austin Metcalf, and ladies and gentlemen, Austin Metcalf, he is the team captain of his squad. So he overheard, he got news that the ops, which was Carmelo Anthony, was on school grounds. So he approached him. Was he wrong? Maybe. Does that justify his life being taken away because of a altercation? Even though he started it, even though Austin Metcalf may have pushed Carmelo Anthony responded talking about touch me and see what happens. Is that premeditation, ladies and gentlemen?
Who wouldn't give a damn?
The let me say this. Let's say the community.
So, like,
The community.
if Carmelo Anthony was the one stabbed and killed by
They
Austin
wouldn't
Metcalf,
give a damn.
I come out here every Thursday and we pray for people going to court because we know this is the final frontier of racism and it's legalized here.
it was announced yesterday that there's no black jurors that were chosen. What are your thoughts on that?
That's why we need God.
We have to debunk that lie. God has nothing to do with Carmelo Anthony bringing a knife on school grounds. Also, once again, the reason why there was not a black jury among the members of the courtroom was because, once again, quote, they did not want to convict one of their own. They was feeling some type of way, so they moved around. So when you see something, ladies and gentlemen, before acting first, do your homework and research, and don't be a sheep following narratives as if Carmelo Anthony didn't get a fair trial. No, he got a fair trial. As a matter of fact, they gave him a deal. Let it be your own, God forbid, that was sent to high school, even though he may have been a bully, even though he may have been a catalyst to provoke Carmelo Anthony. Let's even go with the narrative of Austin Metcalf being the bad guy. Let's say he was saying the hard ER and NIGGER. He said that derogatory term to Carmelo Anthony, which does give the reaction of feeling some, the reaction of let's fight. Still, those are words. You could have used in your God-given hands and fought back, received the expulsion, suspension, but you wouldn't be facing 35 years in TDC. So we can't blame anybody but Carmelo Anthony for pulling out a knife because he got shoved. Personally, I got shoved when I was in high school. Of course, I got the consequences when I participated in a fight to get me in trouble. Yes, did I go through the courtroom and had my parents involved and fees, this, that, and third? That was very taxing on the parents, but I lived and learned to know there's a time and place for everything. Did anybody pass away? No. Austin Metcalf doesn't have the opportunity to see the light of day because somebody wants to be a punk. They want to be a coward. You're not giving the opposition a chance to fight because somebody pushes you. It's not like Austin Metcalf stuck him in his stomach or pushed him. And let's say he was getting jumped. You pulling out a knife on school grounds? They told you to leave and you decided to stay. And now he has the next 35 years to reminisce. Was it worth it?
Why we need God, and that's why he's going to show who's in control.
And would you?
God is in control because he's exposing the hidden races that's among this country. It's very baffling because rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Even with Charlie Kirk, ladies and gentlemen, there was the glorification of his death because of the hatred the public has for somebody speaking their mind. You had people spitting in front of protesters saying that's a reflection on Charlie Kirk. People getting expelled and suspended from school down south in Texas, Texas Tech and Texas State, rebelling because of a person's opinion. So, ladies and gentlemen, obviously we are sharing this planet with demons. Be very weary and walk with a purpose because it's not sweet out here. I'm not trying to say live your life in fear, but people are glorifying death. People get in trouble all the time. Once again, remove the knife from the situation. What's the worst that's going to happen to Carmelo Anthony? Once he will be sent to an alternative school, is suspended, be expelled, but Austin Metcalf will still be alive today. And what's nasty work is that grown folks, 50 plus, 60, 70 plus, certain content creators can't see the light. They're blinded all because of skin color. The same reason why people voted for Obama, not knowing his political views, not knowing his agenda. The man made a certain thing legal that was never legal ever in history, but he made it legal all because of Obama. But once again, they only see skin color and it makes them blind to the truth. Not all skin folk is kinfolk. Just because you see somebody in a bind doesn't mean you always got to run to their side. Also, they're mixing this case with prior cases like Emmett Till and other cases that was done wrongful in the judicial system. No, this is not the same case as other unfair cases. Clear as day, the man committed something he wasn't supposed to do.
Would you be open to giving us your personal insights into the Carmelo Anthony trial and what your thoughts are on it?
I just want justice done. You know, we know nobody go to a track meet to murder anybody. Okay, come on. That's an accident, self-defense. That's what.
Well, he did go to a track meet to red rum somebody. See, it's like a certain amount of ethnic, a certain amount of people hear the truth, see the truth, even see the video that was released. Now, you know what the narrative is, ladies and gentlemen? That the video that was released is fake and is edited. They just can't handle accountability. You see the evidence. First, the lie was it wasn't a pocket knife. The picture comes out that it's a pocket knife. They're saying it's fake. Then the footage comes out that Carmelo Anthony was the one to actually commit the action. And now they're saying that the video that was released is fake. But prior to the video being released, they were saying that release the video, release the video. How come they didn't release the video yet? Why are they hiding the video? Once the video comes out, it's going to reveal the truth. It's a reason why the video hasn't been released. Release the video. That's all content creators and people were saying. How come the video wasn't released? But now the video is released for the past couple of days, and now people are making videos stating the footage that was released recording the event that transpired between Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. It's fake. So everything's fake. The knife is fake. The video's fake. Poor Carmelo Anthony is the victim in the situation. Meanwhile, he's alive and somebody can't defend themselves. They will no longer be here with us because of a altercation that was petty. The first lie was that the pocket knife, the weapon of choice that was used to take away somebody's life, was a cleat sharpener from shop from a high school class, and it's illegal to carry a high school weapon around among the classroom, among the school grounds. It's legal because he was already in shop, so he has the right to carry that weapon around the campus. That's a lie. And when I initially heard that, I was like, okay, even if that story was true and he didn't use a pocket knife and the weapon that he used was from shop, how does that defend? How does that give justification for him to use a knife thrusting inside somebody's chest? But the common sense, like this is first grade logic. A first grader can understand what is right and what is wrong. And what is wrong is to use any sharp object towards anybody. If you're going to use that, it has to be justified in terms of somebody is threatening your life. Was Austin Metcalf threatened? On high school play in at a track meet in the high school playground? Was Carmelo Anthony, was his life threatened? No, Austin Metcalf, his life was threatened. He was bleeding out on school property because of a coward wants to pull out a weapon instead of throwing hands. What happened to swinging? You could have swung, you could have got a couple licks in. And then you know what, the also another sad narrative that is going around the web, ladies and gentlemen, saying that Carmelo Anthony was outnumbered. They were saying that Austin Metcalf pulled up to Carmelo Anthony with his brother and two other members that was white, Caucasian, 200 pounds. And poor Carmelo Anthony, he was only 130 pounds. So what else is he supposed to do? He was scared for his life that he had to pull out a knife. What kind of logic is that? He was scared for his life in high school. He had to pull out a knife. Are we forgetting that he was on school grounds? Grown folks are making excuses for Carmelo Anthony like he wasn't on school grounds, a place where you're supposed to learn, a place where it's supposed to be safe, a place is the last place on school that you're supposed to pass away at. You know, sometimes entities make wrong decisions, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, going to a nightclub, going to a party without parents' permission, and certain events may transpire to get a certain kid in trouble. And God forbid that kid can no longer live life. But nobody told that kid to drive behind the wheel under the influence. Nobody told that kid to do something that he knows is wrong. But Austin Metcalf, he was on school grounds. Now, can we act ignorant and say that Austin Metcalf is completely innocent in the situation? Absolutely not. Obviously, Austin Metcalf approached Carmelo Anthony, but we can't justify his death because of a argument, because of an altercation, even if it was a feud, even if Carmelo Anthony was being called the hard ER. That does not give justification to use a weapon. We got to stop the gap.
It was. I'm not saying the kid should get off free, but first degree murder? Come on. Basically, he's facing the wrong charge for the crime that was committed.
Do you think Carmelo is innocent? Do you feel like it's been an unfair response to what happened to Carmelo Anthony?
I feel that the justice system always over respond when it comes to us. So definitely, I mean, you look at the charge. It was self-defense. He was wrestling with two guys. I don't know what the parameters of it, but it was two people. So
it was two people. No, it was four people. But are we forgetting the man was on school grounds? The man was at a track meet. So what is he talking about? We at school. Not only is he a threat to himself, but he's a threat to everybody on school property. That is a felony just to have that on your personnel. How is he getting justification for having that type of device on school grounds? Ladies and gentlemen, there was at a track meet, school property, not public property, not in the back alley of New York, somewhere where you're back up against the wall, no cameras, just you against four. It's late at night, your cell phone, no service, can't call for help. Your options are limited. Okay, you took out somebody's life, you have a case when you go to the courtroom. Your Honor, my back was up against the wall. There was no cameras. I couldn't call anybody. I screamed for help. Nobody came to my assistance. I had to defend myself. He may serve time. He wouldn't get 35 years, but this is not that situation. But you know what's sad about this, ladies and gentlemen, that we have to explain logic to grown folks. Can you imagine?
No, two against one. That's self-defense.
I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. 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 I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit.
I don't have an opinion. I don't have an opinion here.
Yo, all because Carmelo Anthony is a black person. He gets a support blindly from other blacks, not all, but some, as if he is the victim. The self accountability is out the door, but let it be your own being deleted from this planet because somebody's too cowardly, too much of a bitch. They can't use their hands, so they pull out a knife. Let it be your son. Would you feel the same type of way? Would you have that same energy defending Carmelo Anthony? No. So this is selective outrage, and this is cap at its highest. All because the man is black, you think he's a victim. Oh no, there's no way. Carmelo Anthony, he's innocent. And that's why they made the movie Baby Boy, because a certain amount of people stay in that stage of being a self victim mindset individual, a walking baby. The accountability is just out the door. The logic's out the door. Somebody gets in trouble, they don't question, well, why did he bring a knife in the first place? Why didn't Carmelo Anthony just leave the situation? He had enough willpower to run after he deleted Austin Metcalf. He knew where to go then. He knew where his coach was at. He was trying to flee the scene. If I committed action and his coach is everywhere, I'm out to get jumped. So why didn't you run toward the coach then? You knew how to run after you took somebody's life. A matter of fact, you shouldn't have even been there. Carmelo Anthony was suspended.
I'm glad you just said that. That's what Karmelo was doing. Protecting his motherfucking self.
Free Carmelo. You guys support Carmelo? Yes? Yes? We're just here with press just to record and talk to you guys and see what's going on. Okay. Okay. It's a free country. You're in public. You're in public. Okay. Okay. Well, you're in public. I'm just asking. Yeah.
Bitch, go!
Whoa.
Hey, move the camera, bro. They don't want to
It's
be
free
recorded,
speech.
bro.
It's free speech. Why are you throwing stuff at us? Yeah, why are you throwing stuff at us? What the hell is that? All right, well, they're throwing water bottles at us while we're recording. By the way, there's signs right here that says self-defense is not a crime. Carmelo Anthony.
Self-defense is not a crime. Obviously, you have the human right to defend yourself, especially down south in Texas. You have the right to defend yourself. You don't have the right to bring a weapon on school grounds and pull it out because somebody pushed you. Imagine getting pushed and somebody pulls out a whole pocket knife, stabbing you in the heart like you're a vampire, like it's a scene from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. If you was gonna pull out a knife, you could have even baited. The man could have acted like he was going to stab Austin Metcalf and teased him like, yo, don't F with me, I'm crazy. But to actually initiate, think about this, ladies and gentlemen, to actually initiate it, that man needs to be behind bars because his thought process is scary and he is going to be a problem in society. If that's his decision making, thank goodness it happened early, because let it be him being a grown ass man. I'm talking about in his 30s. At least he has the 35 years. He's 19. He'll come out in his late 50s, early 60s, and maybe live a good 20, 30 years and be an example to society, telling the youth, don't be like me. Think before you act. I made a terrible decision. And he can be a help and use his life as an example for others, not acting on emotion. But if he was a grown 30, 40 years old acting like this, his life would be done. He wouldn't have a life to see. So that's the only thing that he has looking forward towards is to come out in his late 50s, early 60s and to talk about not acting a complete fool because you're feeling some type of way because your ego is involved. Ladies and gentlemen, if he would have ran right now, who cares if he's called a coward? And he could have said, yo, let's fight outside of school grounds. If you're feeling so mad that you had to use a knife, why didn't you say, yo, let's wait till we're out of school property. Let's meet here where there's not no one to record us and let's handle business like men. But instead, he wants to pull out a weapon on school grounds? How does that make sense? You get in trouble for fighting with your bare hands. Why in your God-given mind would you think you're going to get a pass for pulling out a knife that you're not even supposed to have in the first place? And that's why it's premeditated because what are you doing with a knife in the first place? That's like you bring in a weapon that we're not going to say on YouTube. You pull it out, you delete somebody. How do you get a pardon in the courtroom? You wasn't supposed to have it. If you're in Walmart, if you're in the streets and you pull out that same weapon, you get a pass. Those same rules don't abide in the school system. Just like in your workplace, there's rules and regulations, there's a rule book and guidelines that you must abide by. And if you don't abide by the rules, see you later. Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. That doesn't apply to Karmelo Anthony. Because why? Because he's black?
And he should do no time. And there's also this sign right here says hands off. And this sign says, we stand with you. I believe this is about Karmelo as well. And you'll see a picture right here of Karmelo Anthony. These are pictures probably from his Instagram. Self-defense is not a crime. So that's basically with the tensions being high here. You can see, I mean, we're not here to support anybody, but we're already having things thrown at us. Well, we don't have to do that.
Angry and upset. It's family members over there.
Okay.
So you're agitated.
Oh, those are family members.
You're agitated.
Okay, cool. We'll come back. Yeah, you're good. All right, well, we don't have to go, but basically what you see here, the same problem you're going to see completely every single time is that people who support Karmelo kind of know he's guilty and he's going to go to prison. I would be kind of upset.
I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit. 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 I'm dancing, you ain't gonna do shit.
Was it racism that got Karmelo Anthony convicted of murder, or was it the fact that he stabbed a man in the heart to death that got him convicted of murder? I'm just gonna come right out and say it, as a white girl. It is not the color of your skin that we are tired of. It is your culture. It is the way you behave. And you can call me racist all you want to. I'm not gonna sit here and list off my credentials about how many black people I'm friends with to try to get you to stop calling me racist. We are tired of the loud, violent, ghetto culture that seems to be primarily from people of color. It's not the color of your skin. There are plenty of people who are respectable that are black.
You know what's nasty work for a white person to explain how to act to a black person? Like, put your skin color to the side and judge the action. It doesn't matter if you're purple, white, blue, yellow, orange. Look at the facts. And what are the facts? The facts are that Austin Metcalf can no longer breathe on this planet because somebody wants to be a coward and use a pocket knife because he got pushed. That is the facts. There's nothing that has to be complicated. You have people on their channel involving witnesses and speaking on Karmelo Anthony's behalf, saying that he was the victim. How is he a victim when he put out a pocket knife in high school that he was never supposed to have in the first place? The excuses for this man is unreal. Because he's black? So because his skin color makes you blind to the truth. We got to stop. Not to say that the court system doesn't favor a certain ethnic group would be ignorant for me to say, because absolutely, how many of us seen cases with a certain skin complexion that is lighter do the same thing but have a lesser charge? But those people were somewhat sympathetic. That's why they got a plea bargain. Carmelo Anthony, he didn't come into the courtroom with a remorseful, with a sympathetic agenda. He came into the courtroom, he came into the case as if he was the victim, as if his life was lost, as if he didn't have the knife and Austin Metcalf did the action. So they gave the man life in prison and they had to settle down to 35. So he's blessed enough to get only 35 years. The minimum charge for a premeditated first degree red rum is 25 years. They was going to give him life. First offender, Carmelo Anthony was going to get life. Big boy jail for life. Weighing a buck 30, 130 pounds in there with all type of criminals, ladies and gentlemen. They was going to turn him to Shanae off the Marlon Lawrence show. What is he going to do at 130 pounds?
Black. It is the way you present yourself. It is the way you treat other people. It's the fact that you have to scream and yell at everybody. It's the fact that you have to start a fight anytime somebody looks at you cross-eyed. This isn't because Carmelo Anthony is black. It's because of the culture he was raised in. The culture he was raised in told him to fight, to be violent, to get in people's faces. He was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be, and it wasn't because he was...
It's not the culture. Let's stop the cap right there. Even though it's violent, let's stop the cap. It's violence in every culture. We got to go down to the source. It's a reflection on his parents. His parents failed him. His parents not only failed him in terms of not giving him a proper defense, getting donations of $700K plus to $1 million, but they want to give him a public attorney. The parents should have instilled to their kid, when somebody pushes you, you have the right to defend yourself, but you do not have the right to take their life away from a weapon. Now, if you're in the street, ladies and gentlemen, then we're talking. If somebody touches you in the street, oh yeah, you can take their life away, 100%. But he wasn't in the street. He was on school property. Let's keep it a spade. The man wasn't in the back alley of New York City. He was on school property. So that doesn't give justification to pull out a whole knife that was once called a cleat sharpener. Can y'all believe the excuses for Carmelo Anthony, ladies and gentlemen? It's disgusting. I don't even make live videos like that, but I have to document this because the amount of lies and justification and lack of self-accountability for this case is disturbing. And what I witnessed so far is that it's exposing a lot of hidden racism for white people. You may disagree with them, but to wish death upon the person is disgusting. Once again, Charlie Kirk, his death was glorified because people was happy he can no longer speak because of his political views. He can say whatever he wants to say. It doesn't mean that he deserves to be deleted.
Black, it's because he wasn't part of the team and he was asked to leave. Instead of leaving, he got in a fight. He chose to pull a knife and stab Austin Metcalf in the heart to death. He wasn't being forced to be there. They didn't go out of their way to antagonize Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo Anthony went out of his way to antagonize Austin.
Carmelo Anthony gave the premeditated statement, touch me and see what happens. Is that not premeditation, ladies and gentlemen? Knowing this weapon that's on the screen was in his personnel. That is premeditation. Now, at first, when I heard this case, I was like, why is a first-time offender, even though he's wrong? No denying that. Why is a first-time offender getting a charge of 35 years? Then I did my research and I realized, oh, one, he wasn't remorseful. He wasn't apologetic. He said he was the one that was the victim. He was the one that was getting bullied. He even gave the statement saying, and a video footage of him crying like a little bitch, saying, he touched me. I told him not to touch me. I told him not to touch me. His parents failed him. And not only did his parents fail him, they're actually liquidating and they are scamming this whole situation by receiving donations, but yet they didn't give their son proper defense and hiring a lawyer. Can you imagine scamming your own blood for bread? Disgusting work.
Metcalf. And it doesn't matter what words were exchanged. It doesn't matter if Austin was taller than Karmelo. There is nothing to justify pulling a knife and stabbing somebody in the heart.
That's another justification that Austin Metcalf and his brother and those two other white boys was bigger, they was taller. So Karmelo Anthony was scared for his life. He had to do it because his life was so threatened. His life was so threatened. He had to pull out a knife. What? Bro, stop the cap. He's in high school. What are you talking about? His life was threatened, bruh. Taking this young boy's life away, young man, because you're too much of a coward to use your God-given fist. You want to use a whole knife. Stop the cap.
And the way that your community is responding to this conviction is exactly what we are tired of. A black man went up to an innocent white man and punched him in the face because he thought he was on the jury that convicted Karmelo Anthony. There are people who stood outside waiting for Austin Metcalf's family to get out of the courthouse just to tell them that they were glad that Austin died. That is trashy, that is ghetto, that is disgusting, and that is what we are tired of. There are plenty of black people telling you that you're wrong for this, but you don't want to listen to them because you want to keep going with the racist narrative. I'm a white person, and I'm telling you, we are tired of this. Oh, and let's not forget the fact that they're peeing on Austin Metcalf's grave. You guys sit here and cry racism because Karmelo Anthony's life is ruined by being convicted for 35 years in prison. Austin Metcalf's life is ended, over. He has zero chance to live anymore because of Karmelo Anthony's actions. You know what? This is about racism. It's about the fact that this community is racist against white people. And they had to find a way to make the white person, the white victim, the problem. Because God forbid you take accountability for your culture and your actions.
But white people treated it like it was. Not only did he have to move, the judge who lowered the bond, they haven't brought her up yet. She's in hiding. They started threatening the judge is in hiding, nigga. White folks, nigga, now the black judge who they voted in, she no longer is seen anymore. Her life. Money, nigga. He Uber eating out in their old neighborhood. In the Jeep they looking for. A truck run my son off the road. I ain't said nothing. Cause I ain't gonna scare my mama. It didn't dawn on me. Fuck, nigga. This shit serious. What happened? This shit is getting good, white people. White people. White people, white people, white people. This shit is getting good. No, it wasn't Karmelo.
Really scared. That we see it every day. Niggas is fighting in all types of places. Niggas fighting churches. Niggas is fighting on fairgrounds. Niggas fighting everywhere because they don't have self-control. Nothing about that situation at all is screaming self-defense. It screams intent. He wanted to do it. As usual, you niggas like to always pull that race card. What the hell does black have to do with anything? He committed a crime. And the kicker about it all, they had 6 witnesses. And 4 out of 6 of them were black, and they testified against Karmelo Anthony. They said that he was the aggressor. And you don't hear no black people talking about that. And see, that's the problem. Y'all like to pick and choose shit that fit that ghetto-ass rhetoric. When the facts and when the truth come out, y'all never have anything else to say. I'm sorry, but your boy is cooked. Toast. Burnt. You niggas stay looking at the end result, but never look at how we got there. If he did not go over there, sitting on the opposing team side, y'all realize none of this would have happened. But like I said, y'all always picking and choosing whatever fits your narrative. And y'all, and this is why I say black supremacy is a thing. Y'all have a thing with this whole black power shit because y'all mad that he has an all-white jewelry. Like, what make y'all think that if a black person was gonna be on the jury, what, he was gonna automatically get a pass? Cause Let Me would have been on that jury, baby. Guilty. Guilty. It's the audacity of y'all thinking that y'all own black people in every which way. To me, that is really freakishly mind-blowing. And just to put it out there as well, this just goes to show you that no matter whether, because he comes from a 2-parent household in McKinney, Texas, so this is a pretty nice area. Demons are demons, okay? You don't have to be in the hood just to be a demon. If it's in you, it's in you. He wanted to be a demon. He performed an act, and boom, here we are. You niggas really irk me in every inch of my soul, using that as an excuse to get away with everything. You guys never ever hold yourselves accountable to nothing. And then at the same time, you have people out here in the world thinking that me, other black people are like you niggas. That shit makes me so angry. And that's why I have to pray, because I'm telling you, the hate that I have, I need to try to find some love. I need to dig deep in my soul and get on my knees and pray and find some love in my heart for you niggas, because it's just I just don't have any.
All right, so I've heard a lot about justice for Karmelo, right? Yeah.
Justice for Karmelo. I would have stabbed that nigga too.
Why?
Hey, I would have did it to him. I promise I would have.
You would have did it to him. You promise you would have. Ladies and gentlemen, people really think Karmelo Anthony is the victim.
Did it to him.
But why?
I would did it to him and his brother.
Okay, but for what reason?
Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
Them little boys came looking for trouble.
Okay.
When you come looking for trouble, you don't know what fucking outcome going.
Sure.
You don't know outcome. You rob a bank. You don't know if you're gonna get the money.
Wait, somebody robbed a bank?
Hold on. Listen, real quick.
Man, you want to play dumb, man.
No, I'm trying to.
Even if, let's go with that narrative, even if Austin Metcalf was looking for trouble, that is not justification to use a pocket knife because you got pushed on school grounds.
No, I want to hear. Yeah. Let's talk about it. All right.
You can record it, motherfucker.
Yeah. No, I want to.
You rob a bank,
inside,
right?
right?
You rob a bank, right? You might get the money. You might go to jail. You might be dead, right?
Right.
You fuck with the wrong motherfucker. It's the same way. Them boys were looking for trouble. You know what happened? He got stabbed and he died because he went looking for trouble.
So if Austin Metcalf was looking for trouble on school grounds, does that mean he does that mean, yo, hear this logic, bro? This is clownery at its finest.
I be trying to laugh with the bros.
So let's stick with the narrative that this man is saying. Austin Metcalf is trying to jump Karmelo Anthony. So Karmelo Anthony is at school and he deserves to pull out a knife. Well, he's allowed to pull out a knife and stab somebody like he's on a scene from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's the logic this man is saying. That Karmelo Anthony was in the right to pull out a whole knife.
That's self-defense, motherfucker. So if you can't see that between your fucking little ass brain, motherfucker.
All right.
Do I have to tell you? I have to whisper to you?
So.
You want me to whisper to you?
No, I just.
You want me to whisper to you, motherfucker?
You can talk in.
You want me to whisper to you?
Well, you're yelling right now.
All right, then, bitch.
You know,
play with somebody else, nigga. I'm a real gangster. Play with somebody else.
I'm just trying to get like some insight into the situation. There we have it, guys.
If this is supposed to be a human being thing, where's all the condemnation from the other black people? Did black people condemn this vicious act of human evil against another human? No. They raised $800,000 to defend the murderer from accountability. Not only did the black community rally in his defense, saying free him and raising money for his legal defense, they also protested outside the courthouse, demanding that he be let go even today, saying he was provoked, he was acting in self-defense. So is it a human being thing? Is it ever? Was it a human being thing when it was George Floyd, Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, O.J. Simpson?
Okay. He put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
And this photo of the
Suspect.
He put his hands on me. I told him to not put his hands on me.
Okay.
He put his hands on me. I told him not to put my hands on me. Bro, straight coward. Look at this man confessing to the police, bro. No wonder, bro. He is the last person who gave him a pocket knife. He's the last person that should have that in his possession. So wait. So you tweaked out so much that you blacked out. You don't have the enough cognition, the comprehension to understand what you did. And now that a man is no longer here, you know what happened? Stop the cap.
And this photo of the Ozark Trail multi-tool knife that prosecutors say Anthony used to fatally stab Metcalf is part of the trial exhibits that jurors saw during the murder trial. And audio from the 911 calls to police following the deadly stabbing were also made public. Listen.
Frisco 911, what is the location of the emergency?
Hi, we're at Kuykendall Stadium. My friend just got stabbed.
Okay, do you know who stabbed him?
We have no clue. He was sitting in our tent, but you need to send an ambulance right now.
They're on the way, okay? Give me a description of the person that stabbed him.
He was wearing a gray Essentials hoodie.
And this surveillance video shows Anthony fleeing the tent where he stabbed Metcalf. A jury found the now 19-year-old guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced him to 35 years in prison earlier this month. The judge reflecting on his decision to release this evidence now, saying this, quote, "I understand the public's desire to know what happened in the courtroom. The overwhelming focus on my ruling regarding the media in the courtroom was to protect the process, witnesses, and jury. Now that the trial is over, it is important to me to provide transparency."
It's on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me.
What's happening right now? Victim is over here on the north end. They got staff standing to him right now. This is the alleged suspect. Already? No. We searched them. We got nothing. I don't know what happened.
Went in front of them, went past.
Right.
The other four.
Able to see him getting jumped. I couldn't see that. So I was wondering if you guys saw something different.
No. It's not. I didn't see that with that video. No. I didn't see him. I didn't see him getting jumped. Oh, you know what I mean? Like I saw movement over there. I saw that there was multiple people around him, but I didn't see. He was getting. You know what I mean? Like the altercation. No.
Oh, and I didn't say that he was jumped. It just looks like more than one person body is moving under that tent, and it looked like more than one body is standing up, and it looked like movement from more than just one person. I didn't say they jumped him. I didn't say those words. I said that it was more than one person that looks like they were standing up. The kids all testified that all of them were sitting down. They said none of us was standing up. The only person that was standing up was Austin. They said all of us sat down the entire time. We all was telling him to get out of our tent. We don't belong here. Yeah, right. You don't got nothing in that bag. Whoopty whoop. However, that video looks like more than just Austin is standing up, is what I'm saying.
Stages of the media and leftists and the occult turning Karmelo Anthony into the victim. And he didn't do it, or he was justified. This self-defense claim. This is all occult-like activity. And I watched G. Craig Lewis break it down this past Sunday in his church. And how the black church, black gangs, black culture has been captured by the occult. And y'all wonder why I keep coming on here like this case is important, and we have to call out this satanic culture that has captured black culture. And we're running around defending a murderer. I saw things on, I saw Asante Samuel on Twitter this weekend defending Karmelo Anthony, making assertions, insinuations. They're like, oh, what should Karmelo have done? Take that L, crazy work. These guys, like, he was disrespected. Someone pushed him. What was he to do? Asante Samuel's Super Bowl champion has a solid case for the NFL Hall of Fame, Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's out promoting like that Karmelo Anthony's some victim and he shouldn't be in jail. This is a guy jerking off on social media, too much money. And we've given him too much platform because we worship these sports heroes as gods, and we give them so much money, and people, well, he's made all this money, he must be smart. And he thinks Karmelo Anthony was justified in killing a 17-year-old child. These gang
they were able to see him getting jumped. I couldn't see that. So I was wondering if you guys saw something different.
No. With that video, no. It was more to.
Oh, and I didn't say that he was.
Okay, guys, I want to jump into this video. It's going to be relatively quickly. Make sure you come back because at 1:30 today.
Sure. And it looks like he went to the backpack or something. And I think right here is when you see the push. It's hard to tell, right? But just this whole situation, right? I'll talk about it before it happens because you can see the escalation from when he supposedly gets pushed. Apparently he's getting beat up, right? Apparently people are saying he had nowhere to go, right? You see the whole like motion. You see all the events in motion. He's like doing something right here. I didn't even see a push, right? Maybe there's a push right here. I can't tell. We need to watch this whole thing because you need to see like how calm and how not crazy things were. Watch, he's moving away with his backpack. Now watch this. Shortly after this, and watch, the video doesn't skip, right? The video doesn't skip at all. Obviously there's commotion going on. He's up there at top and then he runs away. So the theory, right, that he was getting beat up is crazy. The theory that he couldn't get away is nuts. All this shit people have been saying, right? Ignoring, witness accounts and those sorts of things. And then, I have the other video. This is him running right here. Nothing really happens in this. He just runs away and some of his friends chase him. The even thought that Karmelo Anthony was in any danger or getting jumped or anything like that, obviously not true. Bunch of bullshit. He goes to his backpack, grabs a knife, stabs the guy, dips off because he was upset by some words. Sorry, you're wrong.
Suspect.
Okay. I am. No, I'm not. I know how it goes. I'm not alleged.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all just saw the video, the Karmelo case.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's go to the polls in the building. Thank y'all for being a participant in the voting polls. And if you haven't already, please let me know your take. We got 153 votes. Karmelo Anthony using a knife on school property, self-defense. We got 74% saying no, and 26% says yes. Karmelo Anthony using a knife is self-defense on school. For the people that said yes, please let me know in the comment section. Why do you think using a knife on school grounds is self-defense? Please let me know what school that is. Like, that's the elephant in the room. We're completely ignoring the fact that Karmelo Anthony was on school property, which means the man shouldn't have a knife on school property. We wouldn't even talk about Karmelo Anthony if he didn't have a knife. It would be a common school fight. It won't be the first, it won't be the last. Fights happen all the time. The difference about this case is that the man decided to pull out a knife like he was trying to delete a vampire. He could have hit the arms, even the face, but to go towards the heart, like that's not a vital organ. So, ladies and gentlemen, here, the next clip I'm going to play, because the first one was with Jason Whitlock. We're going to go to The View. Now, I'm just going to play the audio for fair use. But here we got these people on The View siding with Karmelo Anthony. Now, to each his own, you have the right to have your own opinion. It's just so confusing to me.
And they were released. They were struck.
It's just so baffling to me, ladies and gentlemen, that a life was taken, but yet Karmelo Anthony gets so much support as if he's the victim. That's the confusing part, and that's what's so baffling. Like, we are really living in the Matrix. How is a man able to bring a weapon on school grounds and gets the support as if he is not in the wrong? But he lets you speed 5, 10 miles above the speed limit and give the excuse, a valid excuse. You're telling the police officer you're trying to get to your destination. You have an emergency. You're late to work. This, that, and the third. They don't care. You know why? Because not only are you endangering yourself, but you're endangering others on the road. Karmelo Anthony was in that same situation. He was a dangerment to the everybody in that school system by having a knife on school grounds, which is a track meet. Why do you have, you're not in the ghetto? That's what even makes it worse. It'd be one thing if he was in the ghetto because you got to watch your six every 3 to 10 seconds. You're in the trenches. He was in a good neighborhood in Frisco, Texas. You got a white boy calling you names and you feeling some type of way. You stab him. Stop the cat. That doesn't even make sense. You got it made, and now you TDC. And what does TDC? What does TDC stand for? The last place where you want to be, Texas Directional Center. That's where this man Karmelo Anthony is going to reside for the next 30 plus years. And can we feel sorry for him? Nobody told him to pull out a knife. Nasty word.
For that, and some folks think no, he got a fair trial. But is this a jury of his peers?
I don't think so. And you know, this has been an issue for such a long time in the judicial system where prosecutors use what are called, you know, Batson challenges. And they
explain what that is.
It's a challenge.
You see the lies and the narratives that they push, saying that Karmelo Anthony did not get a jury of his peers, as if he's supposed to have somebody of the same skin complexion in the jury group. That's not what jury of your peers means. If you go down to the definition, jury of your peers means people that has their bias and emotions to the side and will give the best judgment and keep it fair down the middle. They interviewed Black people and they said, quote, they cannot convict their own. So we got to stop the cap.
That is used to strike a juror, generally a juror of color, for a race-neutral reason.
Right.
Because you're supposed to have a jury of your peers, and you're not supposed to just strike someone because they're Black. And in this case, they gave the reasoning that they're educators, and this happened, these were high school students, and this happened at a school track meet, so they couldn't be impartial because of that. I don't think that's an appropriate reason.
They might be the best ones, too.
Yeah, I don't think it's an appropriate reason to strike Black jurors, especially when it's a young Black teenager on trial, and especially when that particular area is made up of 10% of an African-American community. So I don't think he got a jury of his peers. So I think on appeal, there is a legitimate thing, a legitimate reason. I also think we have to look at self-defense here because there seems to be two systems of justice at play in this country. And there have been for a very long time. I was part of the system, so I understand that, and I believe that to be true. In this case, this young man, you heard him say he put his hands on me, and I told him not to. This, the kid that died, and I have so much empathy for him and his family's loss. That kid was 200 pounds. This kid was 130 pounds. And so, and the other kid was also taller than he is.
Stop the cap, ladies and gentlemen. Did I hear the excuses? Who gives two F's how much Austin Metcalf weighed, or his brother, or his friends that was around? That does not give justification to use a knife. Why does he get all these excuses? Because he's a Black boy that weighs 130 pounds? Grown folks on major TV programs are talking about Austin Metcalf was weighing 200 plus pounds, so that made Karmelo Anthony scared and gives justification to use a knife and stab him in the heart like he's a vampire.
He was the only Black kid under the tent, and the victim.
He was the only Black kid underneath the tent. Why? Okay, so Austin Metcalf approached the tent 8 minutes later after Karmelo Anthony was present. The team captain, which is Austin Metcalf, told Karmelo Anthony that was a rival, add context into the situation. he was at a rival school. People saying, "Oh, he's allowed to be there." It's not the 1930s. It's not Jim Crow laws. Who goes to a rival school, first of all? And when the team captain from the opposing school, which is Austin Metcalf, tells Karmelo Anthony to leave, words may have been said. You decide to put Karmelo Anthony decides to pull out a knife.
Here had his twin brother with him, who was also a very large person. If you don't fear for your life, if you weigh 130 pounds, I weigh 130 pounds. Facing somebody that's 200 pounds, I would be terrified of that. So I don't understand why self-defense was rejected by this jury.
I agree with a lot of what you're saying, especially the jury representation. That's what stood out to me. And we know there's plenty of evidence that there's sentencing disparity with people of color. The one thing to me, though, is what is the fair sentence when you take a life? And this is what I'm struggling with, because this is a tragedy across the board. A 17-year-old is dead. A 17-year-old's going to likely spend 35 years in jail. He could appeal at 17. What would you, I'd be curious what you think, because I wrestle with it. If it was, God forbid, anyone in my life, I would think 30 years seems about right. If they said life, I'd say that's too long for a 17-year-old. He could be rehabilitated.
Look, I think 35 years, if there is no self-defense claim, which is an absolute claim to this crime, absolute defense, I think that would be appropriate. But if you look at other cases, there was the other case where there was a young black kid who was chased by Rick Chow, a store owner, accused of taking water bottles, which he didn't take, the 4 water bottles. He chased that young boy 130 yards, which is half of a football field, and shot him in the back, claiming self-defense. And you know where he is right now? He's at home with his family because he was found not guilty.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cases like that.
If that is self-defense, I don't understand why this isn't.
But when the system fails one time, I don't think we should then say, so then the system should fail.
But they're very similar self-defense
Sonia,
claims.
I had a question because I was wondering why the self-defense claim didn't work, and I had read that it said you have to use the same amount of force that was brought against you. So if someone pushes you and you push them back, that's self-defense?
That's not the standard, because it's not only use, but attempted use.
Well, no, that's what I'm asking.
So if you felt your life was in danger and you felt he was going to do more than just push you, and you weigh 130 pounds and you're outweighed by 70 pounds,
so you can use. When I looked at this case, though, which to me is just sad every which way, right? There's two families that are destroyed. There's Austin Metcalf lost his life. Karmelo Anthony's going to spend at least. How did this get to this point, and where the hell were the adults?
Yeah.
And basically, you have a dead body, you got a confession, you have a murder weapon, and you have dozens of witnesses who saw it happen. On top of that, you have some video footage, you have confessions. It's all bad. This young man was going to prison. The only people that think Karmelo wasn't going to prison are regular lay folks. The judge knew it. The DAs knew it. Lawyers all across America knew it. Anybody who's, hell, you can go to the penitentiary, and most of them will say, yeah, we knew he was going to go to prison. It was too much.
Who didn't know he was going to prison? Not based on the evidence, based on the fact that he being tried in Collin, racist ass 53% white county. And this is a black boy accused of killing a white boy. This is why everybody knew he was going to get railroaded. And you got not an all-white jury, but a jury that's comprised of not one black person in a racially charged case. Come on, man. The prosecutor, the judge, supposed to be, the judge got to say, no, man, we ain't going to let that happen. The prosecutor got to be like, man, let me just get 1 or 2 in here. So when I get my conviction, they won't be able to come back on appeal with it. Come on, man. You can't go in there. You can't do a racially charged case like this, man, and not have one black person on that. Well, you got a black person being accused of killing a white person. In America, hell no, man. White people ain't not non-biased. They just not. They've shown us time and time again they cannot be non-biased in these type of situations.
Willie, let's do this. Let's flip the script. Let's say this trial happened in Harris County. Then you got an all-black jury in Harris County, and we're gonna remove the race of the defendant, and matter of fact, we're gonna make them both black. Do you think an all-black jury would have convicted a black defendant who killed another black boy because he pushed him, stabbed him in the chest?
No.
Here in Texas?
First of all, okay, say it again. You said an all-black.
If we got a black judge, this is a hypothetical, because the internet, they want hype. What if this? Okay, fine. Yeah. My position is that an all-black jury with a black judge, black prosecutor, black defense attorney, a black defendant, black victim, they would have still found this young man guilty of murder because he killed somebody. A black boy killed another black boy. You don't think it stabbed him in the chest for pushing him? You don't think that all black jury would find murder?
I say maybe, maybe not. He got a better chance with.
Maybe, maybe not. A life was taken. Ladies and gentlemen, this man Willie D, he is on the side of Karmelo Anthony. All the evidence is being displayed. The video footage he's saying is fake. The knife that was used saying that it was a weapon of shock. Everything that is being released, content creators are saying that Karmelo Anthony is the victim, that he had the right because he was scared for his life.
The all-black jury.
I need paramedics at Kirkendall Stadium right away.
Okay, what's going on?
I have an athlete that was stabbed.
He was stabbed?
Yes.
Okay, where are you?
D Rich says Willie D hates white people but made all his money off of them. What a joke. Yeah, Willie D, he is grifting and he is finessing the YouTube streets with this whole Karmelo Anthony because he knows how to play to the emotions of his own people. And that's why you have to watch. It be your own people trying to lead you off a cliff. Instead of shedding lights and awareness, he is leading his sheep off a cliff. This is the same man that was arrested for scamming and got sentenced in prison federal time. Do your homework on Willie D. He is a member of the notorious group down there in Texas. I believe it is called, let me see if I can remember, Top of the Dome. Yeah, I forgot the name of the group that he was in, but the man is now on YouTube and is spreading a whole bunch of nonsense. And just because he has, oh yeah, it's called the Ghetto Boys. Yeah, the Ghetto Boys. So Willie D is a member of the Ghetto Boys, and the man, just because he's a member, he has credentials. And that's why when things are being said, take it with a grain of salt. Even on this live stream or anybody that you listen to, take it with a grain of salt and test what they say. Don't just believe somebody because it comes out of their mouth. No, that is not law because it's being said. You got to fact check what is being said. And a lot of stuff that's being said is lies. And people believe in the lies. Evidence shown clear as day. Now the video that is being released showing Karmelo Anthony fleeing the scene, throwing the weapon of choice away, disposing the weapon. Now they're saying the weapon wasn't used by Karmelo Anthony, that he was framed. Like everything except for self-accountability. Everything underneath the sun except for why did he have a knife in the first place?
Person who stabbed him.
I don't know.
Okay, where in the stadium is he?
We are on the visitor side bleachers. We have Army veteran that's trying to keep compression on the wound.
Okay. Are you with him now?
He is laying here.
How old is he?
Starting to go unconscious.
How old is he?
High school age, so maybe 15, 16, 17.
Okay. Is he awake?
No, he's going unconscious.
Okay. Is he breathing?
Not right now.
Breathing?
No, he's not.
He's not breathing at all?
No.
Okay. Where was he stabbed at?
In his chest.
Okay. I've got them coming, okay? Stay on the phone with me, all right?
Okay.
Is the assailant still nearby?
Okay. I'm here.
Is the assailant still nearby?
Do we hear in the background? Do we hear that?
Oh, we hear it.
That is sickening.
We hear it clear as day, bud.
I'm going to keep you with me, okay, until they're with you. Is he breathing still?
He's trying, yeah. We're doing compressions and giving him mouth-to-mouth.
Okay. Hey, they're doing CPR on him. Okay, just keep going, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Come on.
The medics are coming as fast as they can. Just keep me updated, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Fight through, baby. Fight through, Austin.
The thing is, he never got opportunity to defend why it was self-defense. He never got the opportunity to say why he carried the knife. He could have said, oh, I go camping, I hike, I go fishing. It's a multitude of reasons that could have been justified. So when you look at the defense side of it, it was all by design. It was by design for this system to fail him. And compared to our white counterparts, they don't get the time like what that judge gave Karmelo.
I was hoping we could show the world this wasn't a racial divide thing, that we could kind of close the gap instead of widening it. But at that point, they'd obviously retained the services of Dominique Alexander, a convicted baby-shaking felon advocate who decided to throw me out of the press conference, had me removed by police, and then proceeded to gaslight me and tell me how I was such, I can't remember the word he used, but that I shouldn't have been there, and it was not dignified to my son or myself, which I really couldn't quite understand as they proceeded to gaslight me. And also took there was a young lady who has followed the case also from the entire time. Her name is Sarah Fields. Also showed information about her. That's when they took it from any type of remorse, which they did not show, to the fact of now we're going to play the race card. And now we're going to politicize this. Now we're getting a political activist involved. The two things I said on one of the first interviews I ever did was, please don't make this about race, and please don't politicize it. But they chose to do both.
And your goal that day was to simply get together and pray?
All I wanted, yeah. I was actually hoping to show them, hey, look, man, I know what happened was terrible. And your son made a horrible mistake. I was hoping for some accountability maybe and some remorse. Neither one was shown.
Have you ever spoken to the Anthony?
No.
No apology, no remorse?
Nothing.
You were telling me you were inside the courtroom, quite obviously. After the verdict, the Anthonys left. They weren't there for Karmelo's sentencing.
That is correct. They weren't there for the sentencing, and they were not there for victim impact statements. They left that poor child up there by himself. As soon as the verdict was read, he was guilty. His family and some other advocates left the courtroom and turned in their badges.
Black women, especially Black women who have Black male children, live in fear and agony every single day. A fear and agony that I promise you, the Metcalfs probably never spent a day living that way.
So many people on my page. Jamal, did you see? They released a video of Karmelo Anthony stabbing him. Man, it shows. Now people can see. We're not just trying to convict him because he's black. He did wrong. He took the life of Austin Metcalf. He did wrong, Jamal. Don't you see? Now it shows. You don't need a video to know the watermelon felon, Karmelo Anthony. And what he did to Austin Metcalf was criminal, wrong, and no excuse. I don't need the video to see they didn't jump him. I don't need a video to show he took off running, trying to escape like he was trying to flee, not for safety, but to get and escape. I don't need a video to tell me that. I told you, his parents used him to get money. And they've been caught. Nobody believes them. Karmelo Anthony is where he belongs. And hopefully, if he does take it back to trial, they'll tack on an extra 5 years and make him do 40 years instead of 35.
Jeff Metcalf joins me now here in Dallas. Jeff, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you, Will. Thanks for having me.
You know, I think I'd love to just start this conversation with some of what I just shared with the audience. This is not new to you. I'm sure you've seen the video and heard the 911 call. I did notice you took your earpiece out. You didn't want to hear that audio again of the 911 call.
Correct.
Just too hard to hear it again and to see this video?
And there's another body cam footage that hasn't been released, and it has some pretty graphic details, and I can hear my son screaming, and it's something I don't really want to care to listen to again.
Totally understandable. What, with this video's release, Jeff, do you hope the public can see about this moment?
Well, I mean, obviously, the trial not being publicly viewed live, due to there's so many minors involved. And that's a different subject I could talk about on its own, because look at the damage that these young students who had to witness this murder, who have to live with this for the rest of their life. Every one of them, I believe, are in counseling. PTSD could be a thing. I mean, this is a trauma that you carry the rest of your life, possibly. Hopefully they can get the help they need and move forward and not be scarred from it. Me personally, I'm the same way. I need the help too, to make sure that I can move forward. And that's what I really want to concentrate on, is moving forward. I hope this video can clear up a lot of the misinformation that was provided throughout the entire year before the trial came to light. There were multiple lies and mistruths that were put on social media, that were spoken by even individuals that have some fame. People had their own opinions without even seeing the facts. And that's the part I have trouble with.
What do you make of that? Candidly, with the audience, you and I spoke a little bit earlier today, and it's one of the great mysteries for me, and how something that is so clear, the facts so obvious, was turned into something that was this great national discussion of race. I think you called it earlier. How did this become George Floyd 2.0?
Unfortunately, in today's moral decay of society, as we witnessed, people believe that if they have their own voice, they scream loud enough, they're right. And they believe perception is their own reality. It may not be truth, but in their mind, it is their own reality. For a person to not able to objectively look at something, use common logic, common sense, to come to a determination just based on merely the facts, not the color of one's skin, that tells me a whole lot about your character if you choose that direction.
And you told me you feel like you know the moment this became more than simply a horrible tragedy and a crime story in North Texas, where it became this larger thing, and it was that press conference.
Yes, sir. I do believe that was probably one of the turning points. I was there to show up to pray. I was hoping we could show the world this wasn't a racial divide thing, that we could kind of close the gap instead of widening it. But at that point, they'd obviously retained the services of Dominic Alexander, a convicted baby-shaking felon advocate who decided to throw me out of the press conference, had me removed by police, and then proceeded to gaslight me and tell me how I was such, I can't remember the word he used, but that I shouldn't have been there, and it was not dignified to my son or myself, which I really couldn't quite understand as they proceeded to gaslight me. And also took it, there was a young lady who has followed the case also from the entire time. Her name is Sarah Fields. Also showed information about her. That's when they took it from any type of remorse, which they did not show, to the fact of now we're going to play the race card. And now we're going to politicize this. Now we're getting a political activist involved. The two things I said on one of the first interviews I ever did was, please don't make this about race, and please don't politicize it. But they chose to do both.
And your goal that day was to simply get together and pray?
All I wanted, yeah. I was actually hoping to show them, hey, look, man, I know what happened was terrible. And your son made a horrible mistake. I was hoping for some accountability, maybe, and some remorse. Neither one was shown.
Have you ever spoken to the Anthonys?
No.
No apology, no remorse?
Nothing.
You were telling me you were inside the courtroom, quite obviously. After the verdict, the Anthonys left. They weren't there for Karmelo's sentencing.
That is correct. They weren't there for the sentencing, and they were not there for victim impact statements. They left that poor child up there by himself. As soon as the verdict was read, he was guilty. His family and some other advocates left the courtroom and turned in their badges.
Jeff, I was talking to you earlier. I asked about Austin's twin brother, Hunter. And I asked you, what has life been like for Hunter in school? Frisco Memorial has other black students. What's the relationships been like at school? What has life been like for Hunter?
Well, I can't speak, for Hunter. I can only try to imagine. But he held his grades. He had straight A's this year. He was captain of the football team. Took over his brother's position. I honestly can't see anyone that has the strength or the mental fortitude.
Ladies and gentlemen, link is in the chat if you would like to join the panel. And let me know your thoughts on the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case. Do not have to turn on your camera. You can have your camera off. All I ask is that you do not interrupt the host and stay respectful. But if you would like to add your input on the Austin Metcalf, Karmelo Anthony case, link is in the chat. More than welcome to click the link and let me know your thoughts on the situation. Speaking now is the father of the Metcalf.
As much as that young man does. I told him, matter of fact, I told him right after the trial when he went up to give his victim impact statement that I saw a boy walk up there, but what I saw walk down was a man. He was calm, to the point, was able to articulate his words in a way that could be very understood very well. Asked Karmelo to look him in the eye to show him some respect, and never once became emotional and was able to convey what his thoughts were at that moment.
And you told me that multiple black students throughout Frisco High, Memorial High, also in the middle school, the entire community rallied around Hunter, rallied around your family.
Phone lines are open, ladies and gentlemen. Phone lines are open. If you'd like to join the panel, link is in the comment section. It's going to be pinned. If you'd like to join the panel, let me know your thoughts on the Karmelo Anthony, Austin Metcalf case. Hit the link in the chat. Let me know your thoughts.
Family rallied around Austin. The point being, what was happening actually on the ground and in your lives was so different than what was taking place in the national media, in the conversation, for example, on The View.
Don't get me started on left liberal who have Showtime. But anyway, the community and the school itself, obviously we dedicated the season to Austin, and there was a logo, motto, whatever you want to call it, it's called All In. A stood for Austin. The two ones were his number 11. I stand for integrity. N stands for never quit. And they dedicated the season to him, and that became the motto. And they also presented me and Megan with a framed jersey of Austin with his jersey number 11 that hangs above my fireplace as we speak. But as far as the makeup of the team, I mean, I'd say half the team are blacks. I mean, we don't see color. So all I see is character in people. I don't care what color you are. I want to judge you how you treat people. What's your character like? Your color makes no difference. It doesn't determine your IQ. It doesn't determine your faith. It doesn't determine how much money you have. But your character shows who you are truly. And that's how I judge people.
And you said don't get me started on it, but to your point, a lot of big voices in the media have talked about this, said I don't understand. I could play a clip for you, which I'm not going to, of Sonny Hostin on The View saying I don't understand how this couldn't possibly be self-defense. So what is your judgment of all these people in the media that have spoken on the case?
Well, they're just like anybody else. They don't know me. They don't know Hunter, Austin. They don't know Karmelo. They're looking for their 15 minutes of fame or their clickbait or their clicks. They're looking to monetize the death of my son. I really wish they wouldn't speak about at all. Because one, if that woman said that, she has no idea about the facts of the case, but she wants to spew her public opinion on a platform that reaches millions of people every day. Do I have that platform? No, but today I have a little platform to say what I'd like. She is completely wrong. And if they want to take me and call me and ask me to be on The View with them, I would gladly fly me up there and let me talk to all of you.
Well, I can promise you more people are watching you right now than watch The View.
It's not hard to believe.
Last thing, Jeff, you said that they don't know your son. What would you like the world to know about Austin Metcalf?
Man, I don't think we have enough time. But, I mean, Austin, I'll try to sum it up. He was a leader. He was a God-fearing son. He had compassion. He showed love. He always helped. Always was helping his teammates, always helping the younger kids from middle school who was transitioning to high school football. He would go and talk to them and tell them what to expect. He would coach them in the weight room. He was a leader. When he stepped on that field, he became someone totally different. And he played, I told him once before, I said, son, you play with such controlled rage. And it shows. And for him to have all the accolades and the thing and where he was going, I mean, there's no doubt in my mind he was playing D1 football. But, let's just go a step forward. Maybe there's that 1% chance he does get to the NFL. I may be biased because he's my son, but he had the numbers, the stats, and the size. So the possibility does exist. I don't know about the probability, but the possibility surely existed.
Well, I'm sorry for all that you and your family have been through, and you and I have spoken, and I know you're continuing to go through it. I know you're getting a lot that is completely undeserved and unfortunate out there. So you continue to. But I appreciate you sharing with us, and with the world about Austin.
Well, that's one thing, all in, and this is one of the things that people understand that we did all the time was this. And this is sign language for I love you. If you ever see my boys or whatever, that was kind of like, their thing to tell me, hey, man, I'm thinking about you, I love you. And I just want the world to understand, it all starts with you, and it all starts at home. So as a parent, do your best, hug your kids. Doesn't mean they're going to turn out right or wrong. It doesn't guarantee that they will live or die. But I do believe if you instill your moral values and a moral compass, I think our society is going the wrong direction right now. And us as parents are the only ones that are able to change this, because our kids are the future. And what does our future look like with what we're teaching them right now that is acceptable?
Surrounding Karmelo, if you're Karmelo.
And they show that on that video.
It's on the video.
Okay, come on.
You can see him walk
I'm gonna
up,
say little
and
stuff.
I'll put it this way.
Okay.
They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention to this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss different things.
Okay.
So watch those four. Here, there are four right there coming up.
Right.
That's exactly what they say.
Okay.
And so you have no way to be confused that it's those four.
Okay.
So they come up, they surround them, and it's immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause. Then that's when they jump. And so
they actually did jump him.
Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But Austin pushed, Hunter hit, and then everybody swung. But at the same time,
So it's more than the twins that got some licks
all
on
four.
them. So
So, ladies and gentlemen, here we have the footage, of course, that everyone on YouTube has and has seen of Austin Metcalf approaching Karmelo Anthony that is already underneath the tent. Now, here we have Austin Metcalf with his brother and also two other men that is allegedly plus 200 pounds that is going to have an altercation with Karmelo Anthony. With that being said, that does not give justification. Also, it was being said that it was raining so bad that Karmelo Anthony had to be underneath the tent. Now, if you look at the footage here, ladies and gentlemen, do you see the rain being so severe that Karmelo Anthony couldn't leave the tent, as if they was trying to portray the weather as if it was a Category 5 hurricane? It is drizzling. It is barely raining. So that is why, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot listen to the narratives that people try to portray. You got to think for yourself and research for yourself and analyze and decipher and use your spirit of discernment to understand what is going on. So now they are underneath a tent. Karmelo Anthony is now being approached by Austin Metcalf. After the event, Karmelo Anthony proceeds to run away, flees the scene. But they're saying that this clip that is being shown is fake. The excuses after excuse is unreal and it's baffling, ladies and gentlemen, that I have to document this. In real time, people are defending Karmelo Anthony. All because why? Because of his skin complexion?
Biggest population of black people in the entire country. You had an all-white jury. You don't understand how problematic that is, because let's be clear, white juries haven't been the most judicious. They have let off a lot of people, white murderers, and they have convicted a lot of innocent black dudes. So let's not pretend like there's not a dubious reputation.
D.L. Hughley, respectfully, I understand you're one of the kings of comedy. Why did Karmelo Anthony have a knife on school grounds? You have the right to defend yourself. You don't have a right to use a weapon on school grounds. We got to stop the cap, D.L. Hughley.
You can't find any black people for the jury, but you miraculously can find black.
The reason why there wasn't a black jury member was because they said verbatim they do not possess the willpower to convict one of their own. So that narrative and that lie has to be debunked, stating how come Karmelo Anthony does not have a jury member that is black. Once again, they had a questioning of a select members of black people, and they said they don't have the heart to convict one of their own. So why would you still bypass that statement and put them in the jury? That is a disservice of the courtroom. That is a disservice of the courtroom and for Karmelo Anthony, for both parties. But they just see white people and automatically assume it's going to be racist. It's not that type of case.
Dudes on the football field or the baseball field or the basketball court. As I recall, the southern region has the most concentration of the highest concentration, the largest population of black people in the country. Black people, by and large, have 60% of black people live in the South. And more particular, the state of Texas has more black people than anywhere in the country. You do not have a problem finding black people to play games, but you somehow manage to have a problem with sitting them on the jury. You will never ever see in this country, and I'd be willing to bet there's never been a situation where a white guy killed a black guy, and that white guy was charged by a black prosecutor, tried by a black judge, and had a all black jury give down the sentence. There's never going to be a reverse To Kill a Mockingbird, a reverse 12 Angry Men. And let me tell you something. Nobody's more angry than 12 black people who are not getting paid. They missing work to be at court. Even at that, you know how much of this could be avoided if white people just didn't walk up to black people and ask what they were doing there? I don't care if it's Trayvon Martin. I don't care if it's Ahmaud Arbery. I don't care if it's this case. What makes you believe you have the right to walk up to somebody and ask them what they were doing there? In this situation, it wasn't a coach who walked up to Karmelo Anthony. It wasn't an official. It wasn't a teacher. It was two 17-year-olds, the same age as him. What makes you believe you have the authority to question what somebody?
So Dia Hughley, as intelligent and as much of a scholar as you are, because Karmelo Anthony was getting questioned by Austin Metcalf, that gives justification to pull out a knife? Like, come on, man, you're so much smarter than that. How is there confusion with this case? Like, you have grown folks really siding with Karmelo Anthony, bruh. Let's go to the polls. So we got 164 votes in, 75 votes says no, and a whopping 25% says yes, Karmelo using a knife on school property is self-defense.
He's doing there. You know how many things could avoid it if you just taught people to mind their own business? If your question to me is, why don't you teach black people or black children to respect authority? Why don't you discern who has it?
It seemed like it was a multi-tool, almost like a Swiss Army.
Like with the little scissors and everything and whatever. So it was small.
Well, I would have argued the size of it alone. You wouldn't even think it's a deadly weapon. And that's
forgot he had the bag.
If it was one of the little, like, I don't know. Like, I do think.
Well, that's why he went to his coach and was like, but I
got the money to sign for appeals bond. Why? All white jury, judge and the DA are buddies, along with dad, best friends. That's been our trump card. We already knew that. God has spoken. And God. You cannot make me believe that as many gray-haired white women on that jury that's dealing with white, except for me.
No more. It's not 2020. There's no George Floyd in no more. We done already caught onto that grift. They should have made that boy take the stand and had him cry and do whatever he need to do on that stand to humanize him. But these people, in my opinion, are looking for get rich quick coming up. And they want to come up off of that boy's death. His own family, in my personal opinion, was, and I think they were misguided. But these other fools that be joining in and want to be social justice warriors, then got that boy sent to prison for 30-some years. Now, you reap what you sow, so if he got 30 years, he got 30 years.
So Anthony case, I ain't putting no goddamn money toward that boy. His daddy too goddamn weak for me. I don't like a weak nigga. His dad ain't willing to die, kill, or go to jail.
I am racist against assholes. I don't care what color you are. Frisco ISD then proceeded to do this. This was the icing on the cake for me. Me and Megan went to the school board, went to the school officiating building, asked for a meeting. They granted it. And all we asked for was to have Austin's name read and give a posthumous diploma to his brother. That's it. No big hoopla, no special stopping, no big banners and signs, no bands, nothing. Read his name, empty seat, give his brother his diploma. That's it. They said, no, we'll give you some other options. We can do a private ceremony where it's just y'all. What? The response from one of the women across the table was, well, we've had more than one student die this year. Before I could open my mouth, Mama Bear let loose and said directly to her, how many of those students were murdered on school property? She couldn't answer. She answered for her. 1, Austin. We left that building. They said,